The owners have let this get out of hand for a while now. So is the NFL. So whatever happens, happens, and they deserve whatever repercussion that comes behind it.
On today's Top Shelf Tuesday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis discuss the Washington Commanders' bad week, Deshaun Watson settling most of his cases, as well as NFL summer planning and preparation. Welcome to today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner. We're going to reset one by special request from my good friend, Tony Shadman, the John Moxley to my Brian Danielson in the Blackpool Combat Club, because as we're taping, Forbidden Door is about to hit. The icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, I won't be watching Forbidden Door, but I'll be checking out the events on Twitter. Not that you even know what Forbidden Door is, but
I have no clue.
New Japan and AEW are running a joint pay-per-view, and Okada's wrestling. And man, I'm a big mark for Okada. He's just phenomenal. But I have taken too much time with New Japan wrestling. How you doing, man? And we're taping in the evening. This is different. We haven't done that since prime NFL season.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I have a different beverage in a different cup. So I'll try to keep that off site because we don't have any sports agreements. So on this Top Shelf Tuesday, we're going to talk about the Commanders again for all the wrong reasons. Deshaun Watson settles, we told you, and some NFL summer planning. But Mike, we've got some a melancholy way to start the show. It was a sad week for the Baltimore Ravens. Former defensive tackle Tony Siragusa, known during his playing career as the Goose, died at age 55. Siragusa played 12 seasons in the NFL. I forgot he played for the Colts for the first 7 because he was such a fixture with the Ravens. And then when he retired, he was so good as a sideline reporter. You watched a lot more Baltimore football than I have. And because of you talking about Aaron Donald, you gave me such an appreciation for the defensive tackle position. Ravens had 2 dudes on that awesome defense, letting Ray Lewis run amok. Can you talk a little bit about how good that defense was with Tony Siragusa really quickly?
Yeah, I think it was Sam Adams was the other guy's name.
Yes.
So when you got guys who are very good and very, very big, it takes 2 people to block them. So if you got 2 guys on the defensive line, it's really big. Now you got 4 guys that got to worry about him. That only leaves 1 other lineman. And he's got to fight 3 other linemen or 2, or if they bring in a guy off the corner. So the numbers, don't match. So somewhere you're going to get a mismatch, or you're going to outpower them at some level. And that also allowed the linebackers could not go up. I mean, the guards couldn't go up and block Ray Lewis and the linebackers because they were so worried about what was in front of them. So that allowed Ray Lewis and the linebackers to run
amok.
Just free, unabated, no contact, nothing, just to make plays. And I think when Ray won the Defensive Player of the Year, he bought them all Rolexes, So he always took care of his line. Your line will make you the better D-back or linebacker.
Yes, indeed. And then Jalen Ferguson, Baltimore Ravens outside linebacker Jalen Ferguson, passed away this past week at the age of 26. And In a couple of episodes ago, I talked about how scary this time of the year was for me as a coach because once you don't have organized team activities, no matter what the sport, high school, college, pros, there's just a lot of time. And I don't have all the particulars, but Jalen Ferguson's the third active player to pass away. Dwayne Haskins died April 9th, and Jeff Gladley died May 30th. And, 26 years old, man, just rats, man, just not good, man. Any thoughts before we move on, sir?
Prayers to the family. Sad to see, like you said, this is the toughest time of the season, the off season.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk about the Washington Commanders. And we don't like when the federal government's in our business. And now the federal government is in the Commanders' business, lock, stock, and barrel. Uh, a little bit of background. The committee released findings of an 8-month investigation accusing Snyder of conducting his own shadow investigation. There's a 29-page memo released by Congress, the committee that's investigating, that alleged Snyder tried to discredit people, accusing him and other team executives of misconduct. So they had a hearing, and Snyder was invited to testify at the hearing, but he declined, citing overseas business commitments and concerns about due process. Committee Chair Carolyn Maloney, who is a Democrat from New York, announced during the hearing that she planned to issue a subpoena for Daniel Snyder to compel him to testify. The NFL is unwilling or unable to hold Mr. Snyder accountable, Ms. Maloney is quoted as saying, and that's why she announced her intention of getting a subpoena. But guess who was there, Mike? Roger Goodell. He testified via Zoom, and he told the committee that the team culture for the Washington Commanders has transformed as a result of the investigation. The NFL fined the Commanders $10 million last year. Snyder stepped away from day-to-day operations. However, the league did not release a written report of the investigation. Roger Goodell also said he has no authority to remove Daniel Snyder. That goes through the owners. So 24 out of 32 have to say he's got to go. The Commanders responded after the hearing and sent a letter to team employees, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN, which said in part, we believe the statements that have been made by the media do not accurately reflect all of the changes that they made. As we learned from Watergate, the cover-up is worse than crime. Daniel Snyder allegedly conducted a shadow investigation, and it ain't over. After multiple requests, Snyder will be subpoenaed, and Snyder previously declined to testify in a letter talking about that he's going to be out of the country. So with that said, and before I ask you any additional questions, sir, what are your thoughts on all of this going on with the Commanders?
It is entirely too much, way too much of a problem. When they start talking subpoenas and things like that, you really got to start paying attention and worrying about it. But again, the owners have let this get out of hand for a while now. So is the NFL. So whatever happens, happens, and they deserve whatever repercussion that comes behind it.
All right. So, Coach, I'm going to interview you because I trust your judgment. You're going to tell it like it is. So, and I've sent you these questions. So, fans, I'm not, stonewalling my own partner. So, one, Mike, why does Congress care? This is the NFL. You have an owner of a team. Shouldn't this be team business? Or maybe I'm crazy. Why does Congress care?
When it comes to things like passports being taken, that's like sex crimes. That's like federal stuff. You can't just openly be involved in activities like that. And maybe Congress believes that the NFL don't care enough, and that they're trying to get NFL under wraps. Uh, they've pissed some people off with these games and these national anthems, and Mr. Trump and his group too. So things could look a little crazy, and they just pushing after these people.
All right. So, question number two. Has the team's culture changed? They made a lot of changes in personnel. You got Ron Rivera as a coach, and he's a stand-up guy. You got Jason, and his last name escapes me at this moment. In the front office, you
Got a
also
female too, right?
you also
First
have a
female.
female sports
Yeah.
communications person.
All
Again,
titles.
names are all escaping me.
All
Uh,
titles to throw money at the problem to make it look like they're doing something. The culture made a culture change because they probably got rid of so many people. So maybe there is no culture, but it's definitely good because it's better than the culture they had before of lawlessness and rancid, the way they treated women, the way they treated their cheerleaders, employees. Like it was bad, but some people get that complex and just think they can do whatever they want.
so where does the team go from here? Because in less than a month, we got training camp, Mike.
No, we don't.
And we have to get the NFL has training camp, and I mean we've got to play football. At the end of the day, we cover football. So how are you dealing with this?
Uh, It's I don't know how much is going to be made of it at this point about the Commanders. It looks like it's just going to be drug out, and you'll probably hear more about it next year. But once they start playing and all the other news ramps up, I don't see Congress being involved in this. This is just could be something to at this point in time. It's the best time to bring up anything with midterm elections coming up. So
Yes, and it's Jason Wright. I don't have point five here to drop me names. So, all right. So, with that, fans, we are going to take a brief break, come back on the other side, and talk about suspensions on the Hot Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. And on this Top Shelf Tuesday in segment 2, we're going to start off with something that could have been solved about a year ago, but somebody got bad advice. Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has settled 20 of the 24 civil lawsuits accusing him of sexual misconduct, but he is not out of the woods yet. While the former star for the Houston Texans has publicly sworn his innocence and avoided criminal charges for an alleged pattern of abuse during private massage therapies, the NFLPA is concerned that the NFL will suspend Watson for the entire 2022 season, if not indefinitely, and this is according to the Pro Football Network. This also echoes a report from the Washington Post that said Watson's camp expects the NFL to argue that he deserves to be suspended for at least one full season and that the league executives will likely seek a significant penalty for the quarterback. The Browns have been awaiting for a lengthy suspension, and they have Jacoby Brissett as their emergency quarterback. But it did come out this week, Mike, that this could have all been settled a year ago, but Deshaun Watson received the advice to not settle. What are you thinking right now, sir? What are you thinking?
It's to wonder why they waited. Maybe they were looking for public sympathy, or maybe they just was waiting for it to come out. Plus, it didn't hurt that he signed a contract, that he did it after he signed that multi-million-dollar contract. That helps, when you ain't got it in the bank. But if you got 20, you guarantee, what was he guaranteed this year? 37 or 44?
Uh, Either one, he wins
So,
because it's guaranteed.
yeah, so then he just shells out each one of them a million a piece or whatever, and he keeps moving.
So they're going to have a hearing this week, and Watson will have the option to appeal, and Commissioner Roger Goodell could either rule on that appeal or call an independent ruler. Um, do you think he gets a year? Last week you said 6 games. I'm thinking it's a year. I don't know if they can do anything indefinite. I think we've got the NFLPA might jump on that, but maybe he gets a year and then appeals it, and it maybe gets shortened. But what do you think before we transition, sir?
I think it'll be 6 games, and then they'll just he'll come back. I still firmly believe it's just 6 game suspension.
Do you think it could be time served because he
Uh,
didn't play last year?
yeah, he didn't play a whole year, right? So he already missed a year waiting. That's not, well, I'm not gonna say it's not his fault because whatever he did, he did. But I'm saying he already missed 1 year, right? So he missed
Yeah.
a year, so 6 weeks, and then let him rock out.
All right. So speaking of rocking out, Baker Mayfield. Now, Baker, if you had to just shut up, you could have really, gotten over on this, but I digress. As for the possibility of the Browns reconciling with their former #1 overall draft pick who remains on the roster, it is virtually impossible, according to reports. The Browns are seeking to offload Mayfield's $18.8 million guaranteed salary
And who's gonna
via
take it?
trade.
Who's gonna take it?
Who's going to take it? Okay. So Seattle, who has a high level of interest in Baker Mayfield, according to CBS Sports NFL insider Josina Anderson, formerly of ESPN. Hey, Mike, we found Josina. She's working for CBS Sports. And
Was
also
we
the
was
Panthers.
what we looking
Stop it.
for?
Stop it.
I'm just asking. Was
People disappear from ESPN. You never find them again. So
okay?
I'm glad she's out there. And the Panthers
Okay.
apparently may still be interested because Sam Darnold and your boy from Ole Miss may not be impressive. Uh, man, this is just a wait and see, man,
Hmm.
because Baker's already got permission not to come to camp, but you might want to see him throw if you're trying to trade for him. But
Hmm.
man, this is fascinating. And hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll have our official Cleveland Brown rep and a fan can tell us more about what the fans are thinking. But we're going to move on to Brian Flores. The NFL last week filed a motion in federal court to compel Brian Flores' class action lawsuit against the league and several teams to arbitration. Now, you can remember a couple of weeks ago, I told you that they lost that case, and the judge said in part, why is the commissioner in charge of all of this? Doesn't seem really good. The NFL argued that all 3 coaches agreed in their signed contracts to arbitrate any claims, and the NFL also argued that those signed contracts compel any claim against the league to arbitration, and that the Supreme Court precedent, we're not going to talk about the Supreme Court this week, requires each man arbitrate his claims on an individual basis, so you can't lump everybody together. So why is this important? One of Flores' attorneys argued before a judge that arbitration is the wrong way to handle this lawsuit, and a judge agreed. And again, another attorney for the coaches said, moving the case to the secrecy of arbitration will in fact strip our clients of their rights. Arbitration is privatizing the judicial branch, and all we're asking for is an open and fair process. A Manhattan judge is unlikely to rule on the arbitration issue until late summer at the earliest, so we will keep our eyes on this. Coach Francis, do you think the NFL worms their way into arbitration, or will it be an open process? What do you
They'll
think?
they'll extend it. They'll extend it to that point where it becomes a settlement, sort of like what we just talked about that last segment. I think the owners are definitely going to extend this, and with the way things are and their connectedness with the most judicial systems. I see the owners coming out shining on this, and they've for so long did what they've done, the coaches, the Rooney Rule, all of that. So I don't see where they violated the NFL Constitution. I'll have to read more up on that, but we'll see.
All right. And in other suspension news, and here's where we get to the numbers, Mike. New Orleans Saints star running back Alvin Kamara is expected to be suspended for at least 6 weeks this season, according to a report from Pro Football Talk. If you recall, Kamara was arrested in Las Vegas the day of the Pro Bowl for battery resulting in substantial bodily harm. The alleged incident took place one day before the Pro Bowl. The victim told police he was waiting in an elevator with a group of people that included Kamara at a nightclub. When the elevator arrived, Kamara allegedly tried to stop the man from entering the elevator, putting his hand on his chest. The man then pushed Kamara's hand off his chest, was pushed in return. Then he claimed he was punched and kicked multiple times by members of the group and lost consciousness. So Alvin Kamara is expected to get 6 weeks for this. Does that change your thoughts on Deshaun Watson? Or should he even be suspended for this?
This Alvin Kamara thing, I don't want to make it sound like it's not possible, but the dude pushed back into an elevator full of people and now is mad because the way the people responded.
Allegedly.
Okay, allegedly.
He was trying to get on the elevator. Alvin Kamara and his group kind of occupied the elevator, and he got the little hand in the chest.
Group, right?
Yes. And he
was the guy intoxicated?
I was going to say maybe he had some liquid courage. I'm not sure, but let's just say that wasn't a good ending to that. Mr. Kamara is going to get 6 weeks, and we got to keep that in mind when we talk about the Saints, because that's one of the sleeper picks, and I may keep my $10 on that to win the division. Could be a sleeper pick. Well, all right. On that note,
anyway,
we're going to take a quick break and come back, and just know that Crab Legs is going to be a part of segment 3, and we'll be right back on the Coaches Podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA Save Project Academic Monitoring Service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress, as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Before my partner makes me laugh even more with the between the segments jokes. Shout out to Jeff Jones, who wants us to share those. Let's talk Jimmy G before Fowler gets on the show. San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who's one of the smartest people in the business right now, his timetable for throwing remains on schedule after off-season shoulder surgery. The expectation has been Garoppolo, who had the procedure done on his right shoulder in March, will throw over the next few weeks after he's been cleared, and that plan remains in place. Once this happens and Garoppolo can pass the physical, the trade market for him will open up. Trey Lance, who many people are comparing to Patrick Mahomes, and yes, they're saying this is a Mahomes type situation where Patrick sat behind Alex Smith, and then he came up that next year and blew up the league. That's what many people are saying about Trey Lance. Now, Garoppolo is entering the final season of his contract and is scheduled to count $26.9 million against the cap, which in today's cap, that's quite a bargain. And it does include a no trade clause for the 2021 season only. So the 49ers have the right to trade him to any team they want to. An acquiring team would take on $24.2 million of that salary, but that salary is not guaranteed, and the invested team could potentially work with Garoppolo on a new contract extension. Coach Francis, you are a coach
Hmm.
who is quite abreast of quarterback issues, concerns. What's going on with Jimmy G, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I'm trying to figure out why what he do, because nobody really like nobody really talk good about this guy, man.
He
Every
wins
year,
games. He
and
wins
that,
ball
I know
games.
that, but everybody's trying to get rid of him. They're trying to get rid of him. Why are they trying to get rid of him? Why are we even talking about getting rid of him? What did he do wrong?
Well, George Kittle liked him, but he also, as we said on the show, likes Trey Lance too. He was very polite, unlike the cheetah, talking about his old quarterback. George Kittle played it right down the middle. So I'm looking forward to talking to our 49er insiders. But both 49er insiders that I've talked to,
Oh
and you've
man,
got 49ers fans too, they want Jimmy G gone and they want Trey Lance to play.
why?
So, man, I don't know what Jimmy did other than win ball games, but I am looking forward to hearing, their commentary over the next couple of weeks coming up.
No one's ever more popular than a backup quarterback.
Gus Farrat, baby. Remember, Doug Williams was a backup too. Okay. So the 2022 training camp reporting dates are released. Thank you to the NFL who sent it to us as we get their mailings now. So on Twitter, I saw Adam Schefter posted it. I went to my email and saw the same email that Adam Schefter tweeted. So I'm like, all right, I'm feeling a little love from the NFL. So July 18th, Buffalo and Las Vegas bring in the rookies. We don't care about the veterans. They're bringing in the rookies. July 19th, Atlanta, Baltimore, the Chargers, Miami, New England, New Orleans, Giants, and Jets come rolling in. July 21st, Arizona. Cliff Kingsbury still coaching there, right? Sorry, I should stop that, but I'm not. July 22nd, Cleveland, Green Bay, and Kansas City. July 23rd, Chicago. Shout out Cook for Chicago. Cincinnati, Detroit, Indianapolis, the Rams, Tampa Bay, and Tennessee. July 24th, Houston. Still no quarterback. Jacksonville and Minnesota. And finally, on the last day of rookies reporting, and I think for these teams, rookies and veterans report on the same day, Carolina, Dallas, Denver, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Shout out to Mike Tomlin. Outstanding interview on the pivot. San Francisco, Seattle, and your Washington Commanders will report on July
Why all the
26th.
bad teams got the last day?
I did notice that. I did notice that. So, fans, just put a little note in your ears. We will do our AFC North preview. That will air July 12th. Our AFC South preview will air July 19th. Our AFC East preview will air July 26th. Our AFC West preview, and that's going to be a humdinger, will air August 2nd. NFC North, August 9th, we will air that. NFC South, August 16th, that will air. NFC West, August 23rd. We leave the NFC East for last, and that will air August 30th. And I'm going to try to lobby my co-host to be the Dallas rep because I'd like to see him put his fan hat back on, but he might defer and let somebody else come in. And then we will do our prediction show, which will air September 6th. And opening night for the NFL is September 8th. So we are looking forward for wall-to-wall NFL coverage. And as we close this week, strictly for entertainment purposes only, here are some possible summer bets. So I am giving my partner $30 $10 each. We are still no budget productions. And Coach, will you put 10 on Jameis Winston being comeback player of the year? What do you think? Would you put $10 down on it?
Damn. Put me in a trick bag. No, I don't think I could do that. No.
All right. Another $10 bet. Lowest scoring team in the league will be the Chicago Bears. Will you put a 10 spot on that with Justin Fields as the quarterback?
No, I think Carolina Panthers.
Okay. Yeah, fans, it's strictly for entertainment purposes only. And then finally, will you put a 10 spot that the Rams will win the NFC West? Would you at least put a 10 spot on that?
Yes, I will give you. I'll get $10 on that.
Okay. All right, fans, we're excited about our NFL coverage. We're excited about having our formal official team of correspondents jumping in with us on the NFL. But on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams, saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.